Time to re-up YouTube, your boy Mustard is back, and today we're going to continue the season preview. This time we have the Charlotte Hornets. Now some of you guys may be surprised to see the Hornets this low on the list, but I genuinely do believe the Hornets are one of the more mediocre teams in the NBA. And considering that this offseason I believe that they got worse for obvious reasons, then yeah, I don't see them getting better, I see them declining in the standings. But before we get into my hot take about the Hornets, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and press that bell for post notifications to stay up to date with the latest content on Young Mustard. But getting back to the topic of the Hornets, ever since they drafted Lamelo Ball, things have been getting better for this organization. And if you remember a little while back, I made a video about Lamelo's rookie season saying that he changed the culture, quote unquote, for the Charlotte Hornets, and I can't lie, I don't know if I believe that statement as much as I do now. And that's not to say that the Hornets are this historically bad team, they're not good. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I just don't believe that this team is built to be a playoff team over the next couple of seasons locked in, especially now considering how stronger the East gets every single year. And that would be no problem if the Hornets' young players were getting better, which they are, but that blow to Miles Bridges on this team is truly a hard one for them to swallow, because with the way that their roster is thin in the front court, it's going to be tough for their guards to have to overcome. For example, Terry Rozier, really nice player. He can average around 20 points per game. He's been doing that roughly over the last 3 seasons. But outside of his ability to score, he's not bringing too much to the table. He's a decent passer, but doesn't leverage his scoring gravity in order to help his teammates consistently enough. And on the defensive side of the ball, I wouldn't go as far as to say he's a liability, but he's not some great positive either. Then you have a guy like Cody Martin, who I like because of his defensive intensity. They need that on this team, especially in the backcourt, but offensively he isn't giving you that much. Outside of those two, you do have Lamelo. We're gonna get to him later, but a huge factor for them in that backcourt is the development of James Bouknight. Now I like James Bouknight. I think he's gonna become a really nice scorer in the league, but unfortunately I just don't know what to expect from him next season. He's definitely shown flashes with the ability to score. I think he's a lot more athletic than people give him credit for, but it's just really hard to predict what he's going to do, especially considering that when he played for the Hornets this past season, though it wasn't that many minutes per game, he didn't look so hot. So with James Bouknight, there's a level of mystery with him. And for the surrounding guards around Lamelo Ball, who is your franchise star in the backcourt, to be Terry Rozier, Cody Martin, and also James Bouknight, that doesn't sound like a recipe for consistent playoff success. But then you look at their front court, and I truly do wonder what the hell is going on there. As I mentioned earlier, Miles Bridges, I don't know if he's going to play. We don't have to get into the specifics of what he did because that's obvious. But with the Hornets extending the qualifying offer to him, even though he technically is still a free agent, if he beats the case, I don't know if he's going to play. I highly doubt he will. But let's go under the assumption that he's not going to play, which is the safe thing to do. Then I truly do believe their front court is screwed more than ever. Don't get me wrong, in terms of opportunity, it is a great one for their forward center Kai Jones. I think he's gonna have a really decent season for them. He looks like a nice rim runner. He can be a good lob threat and nice in the fast break with Lamelo. But similar to James Bouknight, he is coming into a sophomore season after a rookie year where he barely played, and I am projecting here. There's a level of mystery that we just don't know what he's going to be next year. And then you look at a guy like Gordon Hayward, who I knew was a bad signing from the jump. I understand he's a really nice scorer. He can shoot the 3 ball, put the ball on the floor a little bit, and he's a nice little passer as well. But unfortunately, he just barely plays. Last year he played 49 games, and the year before he played 44 games. And considering that in back-to-back seasons they've been a play-in team and he's been unable to play in any of those games, it's very telling that that contract was a humongous mistake. There are other wings on this team, such as Jalen McDaniels, who's a nice defender, but offensively he's just not going to give you that much on that end. Kelly Oubre as well. He's a nice wing, gives you a lot of energy on the defensive side of the ball, a good slasher and cutter, but unfortunately he is one of the most inconsistent offensive players in the league. There's a reason why he's been on 4 different teams over the last 4 years. And when you look at their center position, I can't lie, it doesn't look good. Mason Plumlee is a decent player, but let's be honest, he is somebody that's good as a backup, not a starter. And I like Mark Williams, but But like I said about players like James Bouknight and Kai Jones, I don't know what to expect from him. He's not a great offensive player though he's a nice rim protector, he's not just gonna come out of the gates blazing on that side of the ball. It's gonna take time for him to adjust in the league. This team is struggling heavily in a lot of these areas on the defensive side of the ball and when it comes to size. So next season, I'm expecting them to heavily lean on Lamelo Ball, obviously, and PJ Washington. Let's start off with PJ Washington before I end this off with Lamelo. Outside of his off-the-court shenanigans with Brittany Renner, PJ Washington has actually been one of the more bright young stars in the league since he came in. Last year was a little bit of a down year for him, but he's a decent three-point shooter, can put the ball on the floor a little bit, and is a reliable player in the front court. Defensively, he may not be the best, and his rebounding may not be great as well, but with the disadvantages of his size in the front court, there are some advantages with his speed and mobility there as well. And with Miles Bridges gone, I decided to save PJ for this segment because I genuinely do believe this is a good opportunity for him. The Hornets are in desperate need of a legit number 2 guy on that team. I know Terry Rozier is there and he's a good scorer, but when I say number 2, I'm talking about the second most impactful player, because we know it's going to be Lamelo, but PJ Washington has to step up also. Because I remember he was one of the more promising rookies in his draft class, but then Miles Bridges came on the team and just took his spot. It went from PJ being the starting power forward with so much potential and Miles Bridges as the bench player, to Miles Bridges being that upcoming star on the team in the front court, catching lobs from Lamelo, while PJ Washington just fades to the background as their bench player last year. So next season, I'm anticipating for him to kick it up into full gear and go crazy. We may even see him average 20 points per game, because on a team like this that needs his production at that position, there really is no other choice for him but to ball out. But then that leads me to their franchise star, Lamelo Ball. Now before I say what I'm gonna say, I know a lot of people think I hate on Lamelo Ball because I had him in my overrated players video, but the only reason I did that is because I think the media gasses him up and raises him to a level that he realistically is not on, at least just now. And that's pretty typical of a lot of players. Whenever they come into the league and they're flashy, the media is gonna do their best by putting that engine behind them and forcing them into the mouths of NBA fans. Pause. But with Lamelo, even though I do believe the media overrates him and some fans do as well, that doesn't take away from the fact that he's one of the better young players in the league. He can see the court better than most players in the league, great feel for the game, nice passer, high basketball IQ, is amazing in transition, a decent three-point shooter, a good rebounder because of his size and length, and due to it, he's able to offer a lot of flexibility with that Hornets lineup. But unfortunately, there are a lot of flaws in Lamelo Ball's game that I would not only like to see him fix, but if he doesn't fix, this Hornets team is going to still be mediocre next season. On the defensive side of the ball, obviously he isn't that good, and saying not that good is somewhat of an understatement. He's pretty bad if I'm being quite honest. And for a point guard that's around 6'7", 6'8" with a 6'9" wingspan, I don't understand how you're that bad on defense. As a shot creator, he isn't the best on the perimeter. I mean, he has speed and a nice little first step, but he isn't really able to break guys down, and whether it's pulling up for a jump shot after he does so or getting to the rim, he's just unable to do those things. And when you don't have rim pressure at the point guard position, you better be an amazing shooter, and though he's a solid shooter, he isn't so great to make up for it. So though he is an amazing passer with a high basketball IQ, I think his playmaking still has a ways to go to get to where it should be. And with those holes in his game, I don't think he's going to be able to compensate for a lot of the weaknesses on this team. This team heavily struggles on the defensive side of the ball. Lamelo Ball is not going to fix that. This team heavily struggles with size. Lamelo Ball is not going to fix that. This team is now missing their second best player last year that you could even argue was their best player, and Lamelo Ball is not going to fix that. I strongly believe that unless Lamelo takes this major jump, which is not out of the realm of possibility, I don't think this Hornets team is going to make the playoffs. In back-to-back seasons, they have been exposed for their weaknesses defensively, and they haven't even been able to win one play-in game. And now I'm supposed to believe that without Miles Bridges, they're gonna get better? Nah. That's just not gonna happen. And sure, you could say I'm taking a leap of faith on certain teams that I have above them, but why would you have faith in this team to be better than a lot of those? Those teams got better and addressed their weaknesses, and this team got worse and didn't address theirs. So I genuinely do believe over the last couple of seasons, combined with what I think is going to happen next year, that the Hornets are the most mediocre team in the NBA. But you guys let me know your opinions down below in the comment section. If you guys disagree with me, I'm sure some Hornets fans will. Let me know down below. This is This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. You guys stay safe and have a great day. Peace.